Hello, Jessica Yourworks here, back with another video, and it is that time of the year again because we're doing another Speedorz collection video. The last time I did this was in December 2013, and that covered the spring, fall, winter, and summer 2013 waves, and those are all, that was actually at the time 21 Speedorz, but now we have the additional 6 that came out in 2014 so far for the spring wave, at least in the United States, because it was released in the rest of the world in January and stuff like that. But we're going to take a look at each of these 27 Speedorz, plus some of the accessories, like on the side, we have these little ripcords right here, and some of the CHI crystals, which is 162 CHI crystals, and then the little stack of cards over there. Just a quick look, not like each individual card. And sadly, this might be the second to last time I'm doing a Speedorz collection video. I mean, I have a feeling that the summer wave is going to be the last wave. That's not based off of any rumors or anything like that. It's just really speculation on my part. Nobody confirmed that. Nobody even murmured that that's going to be the last wave, but I just have a feeling that that's going to be the last wave. I have my reasons. Well, the Ninjago spinners only lasted 2 years, which was 2011 and 2012, so I was like, okay, maybe the Speedorz will last 2 years, 2013 and 2014. So there's no other fall wave of Speedorz planned unless they split up the summer wave, which is what we've seen so far. There's 4 summer wave sets, I believe, for Speedorz, or 4 or 5, I'm not entirely sure. So without further ado, let's get straight into this, and we're going to take a look at all these spring ones first. And actually, you can see a review of all these Speedorz by following the playlist link in the description, except these two, because this one, Eris, and then all the way down here, Gorzan, I haven't gotten around to reviewing yet. So if you're checking this out right when I upload it, you're probably not going to find it on there because I'm not going to upload the review of that yet. I'm going to actually upload them a little bit later, maybe a week or 2 from now. So check back on that if you want to see it. But anyways, first up is the Speedor for Eris, and this is actually the second Eris Speedor we've gotten. This one has a pearl gold coloring to it on the molding, or the crown as I call them, and it has very similar printing to the first Speedor we got of Eris, which you guys can see right here, and she came in the summer wave. This one came in the summer wave in particular, but this one came, like I said, in the spring 2014 wave for the United States. Now, this one came in the Sky Duel set, but this one came in I think it's called Sky Launch, and this is a $13 Speedorz set, which is, you know, $15 equivalent, because in the $15 sets in 2013 are really what you'd find in a $13 Speedorz set from this year. But you can see her little equipment is this these little rockets right here. Not too special, but the actual Eris figure is updated from the last one. It's not the same figure at all. This one has this little thing in the middle. I'm pretty sure this one did too, but I guess I must have lost it or something. But this one actually has different torso printing, but let's not really focus on the minifigures, but the Speedorz themselves. And just the Speedor on this one has that gold finish, like I said, and the same is with Gorzan, who also came in the spring wave and also came in the summer wave set 2 from the last Speedor. So even though this is the second Eris Speedor, this one is different from the last one, which is a good thing. And next up, we're on to Blista, and of course you can see the shelf works really well with these, because I get to move around the camera just a little bit to look at each of them. And Blista actually has a very nice purple Speedor, and you guys can see that right there. It's actually the same mold that's found on the Wolves, and his has some nice silver finish right there, which that's kind of a shiny silver, so it's not like pearl or flat silver. And you can see the front right there, the side, and his attachment are these little bat wings right here to his Speedor. Those just go on the back. So that's very nice, and the Blista minifigure is very interesting. You guys can see my review of him in the review of the actual set he comes in, which is Batstrike, and I don't really like the figure per se, but I think the molding on him is pretty good, and his printing. So that's it for Blista, and now on to the next of the spring 2014 wave, and this one right here is Scolder, and Scolder is a Scorpion, and he is actually the only Scorpion in a Speedor set. Same how Blista is the only bat in a Speedor set. But Scolder has a very kind of interesting Speedor, because his is this new mold that is new to 2014, and it only comes in 2 Speedor sets, which is the Web Dash set, and then this is the Stinger Duel. He also comes with Shadow Wind Speedor, which we'll get to next. But his equipment is actually these little things on the front, which are like these little stingers. It's actually pretty interesting. But he also has equipment on the back, unlike Sparatus, which we'll get to later, which is this little, it looks a little bit like a scorpion tail. So that is pretty cool. The minifigure himself is very interesting. While I don't really like the scorpion look, I think that his torso and his legs look great too. And his face is pretty cool too. Out of all the scorpions though, he's probably the best. And that's not saying a lot because there's not a lot of scorpions. But that's really it for the Speedor. You can see he has that flat silver coloring on there, which comes out pretty cool. Next up is Shadowwind. And his Speedor is this black one right here, but it has some nice gold finish on it. And that's not pearl gold or anything. That's actually like painted kind of metallic gold. And he also has some nice black or some nice red on it. And his whole mold is on that black little Speedor. And it's the same mold as, I think it's the same mold as, let me see. No, it's the same mold as a lion. So that kind of makes sense because he is a lion himself. So he has a very nice Speedor, and his minifigure is really cool besides the fact that he doesn't come with this Shadowwind helmet. But like I said, if you want to see a look at the minifigures, just follow the review of the set. They come in, and he comes in the Stinger dual set along with Scolder. His equipment is this little rocket on the back, which is really nothing special, but you know, it's nice that they included equipment to kind of keep up with the consistency of all these Legends of Chima sets. Let me move up the camera just a little bit. So that is it for Shadowwind or Lavartus. And next up is Sporadus. And he has kind of this very interesting molded Speedor right here, which is the same one that you find on Scolder, but his is different coloring, different printing. His attachments are similar to Scolder's because he has these little legs right here. But he doesn't have a back attachment, which is weird because there's not a lot of Speedors that don't have a back attachment. But he gets, or it looks like a spider, so I guess that's okay. But I don't know, I don't really like the lime color of this one. Not one of my favorites, but he does only come in one set. This little Speedor only comes in one set, which is the Web Dash set, which is also a 2014 set. Like I said, all the front ones are the 2014 ones. So that's it for Sporadus. Next up, we got Gorzan right here, and this is a second Gorzan. One of them came in Whirling Vines, and then this one came in Banana Bash, which is this 2014 Speedor. His equipment is actually pretty interesting because there's not a lot of equipment on Speedors that have hinges, and his has just that. So it makes him easy to stand up on his own. So you can see he stands up like that. But for his actual Speedor, his printing has some very detailed printing. Again, I didn't review this guy yet, so you guys will have to wait on a review of that, but it will be up soon enough, maybe like a month after this is uploaded, or definitely less than a month. But you can see his finish right here has some really nice silver finish, which is shiny. It's a metallic silver, and he has some blue printing and even some black printing on his pearl gold Speedor helm, so that's really interesting. The minifigure himself is different from the 2013 Gorzan, which is cool. Because Gorzan does come in 2 Speedor sets. So at least his Speedor is different printing and different coloring, unlike Lennox, which we'll get to much later. But it's still kind of repetitive that they are including him twice in the Speedor set. I really like it when they include new characters with new Speedor printing altogether. But like I said, his Speedor printing is very similar to the one from 2013, but it's not exactly the same. So that's good, and his Speedor is a different color. So he does have a very cool looking Speedor with the pearl gold. And his printing is really cool on his Speedor too. And his attachment is actually one of my more preferable attachments because it's easy for him to stand on. I don't really like the ones that kind of make them fall over, like the razor saws, which we'll get to later too, because that's on Wox's, which is a wolf. And so that's it for all of these 2014 ones that we've gotten so far. And actually, I just noticed that I've knocked over some of the 2013 ones, but you can see on the back row right here, we'll start with these are the summer and fall 2013 Speedors. And you can see Skinnet and Legravis are in the middle right there, but we also got all the other ones. And then right on this end right here, we have the fall ones. So let me just move Lennox out here, but first we'll start out with the fall ones. And the first one is Krug, and Krug came in, what was it called? Croc Chomp, which was a Speedor from a Speedor set from fall 2013. I actually found that Target for half off today. And he has a translucent Speedor which is the same as all the other fall ones, and there's only 3 fall ones. But his attachment are these little kind of spikes right here on the end. And it's just a normal Krug that comes in all the other sets that Krug comes in, so it's not like a specific variant just for the Speedor set or whatnot. And yeah, I just really like these translucent ones because they're translucent, and Krug's doesn't look bad in that translucent green. It actually looks really cool. So the translucent ones are interesting for the fact that they're translucent, and I think the translucent adds to the color. And it's cool because you get one for essentially all of the molds except for the line mold at the time being. You get one for the Gorilla Speedor mold, you get one for the Wolf Speedor mold, and then you get one for the Crocodile Speedor mold. So that's really cool. Next up is Ferdy, and you guys know I love Ferdy just for his minifigure alone, but his Speedor is actually really cool too. It's kind of like a Firefox Speedor, I guess you could say, because foxes are usually associated with fire, and plus Firefox is an excellent web browser, at least the one I use the most. And he has that translucent orange, which translucent orange always looks cool if you ask me. His attachment is actually this little, I guess it's a wedge, kind of. Not entirely sure, but it's like a wedge plate, and his is similar in that sense to Grizzam's, which is next, because both of them, I think they add that there for aerodynamic reasons to make them more easy to like maneuver in the air and stuff like that, which is a good thing. It kind of makes them more different from the other ones, and the cool part about the figure alone, if you're too lazy to watch the review, is that the figure only comes in this Speedor set, so that's really cool. And of course he comes in the Swamp Jump set, which was released a little bit later than the fall ones. It was released kind of in December in stores, but you could still get it online in the United States in November. But all the fall ones came in August and outside of the United States, which is kind of annoying if you ask me. But other than that, he is a really cool Speedor and he's an excellent figure. So this is probably one of my favorite Speedors alone. So let's just move him out of the way. Next up is Grizzam, and he has another really cool Speedor because he kind of has this blue coloring right here. For that translucent mold, and his printing has all these little kind of viney printings, and I think that looks awesome. And then he has some silver underlace under there, which is kind of like a silver finish because it is kind of glistening a little bit. It's not like flat, or it doesn't really look like flat silver. It looks a little bit more metallic. So I would actually say maybe even gun silver because it has that metallic look. But I digress. I'm not really good with Lego colors, period. Well, like I said, his is actually this gorilla mold that we do see in a few sets, like we saw them, you know, with the Banana Bash Gorzan and in the Gorzan Whirling Vines version. But he comes in Tower Target, which was a fall Speedor, like I said, because these are all the fall ones. His minifigure himself is really cool, and he only comes in one other set, which is great. But his attachment is another one of these aerodynamic ones where he doesn't have anything really sticking out or anything that looks really cool, but I think these help them maneuver in the air. And it also helps them stand like that, which is great because I usually just display these. So that's it really for this Grizzam minifigure, or Grizzam Speedor more like. But it looks really cool if you ask me. So another one of my favorite ones. Next up is Skinnet, and kind of the same case with Shadowwind. I really love his black Speedor helm color. There's only 2 black Speedors, or completely black Speedors, because there's some with black printing and stuff like that, which is Skinnet's, and then it is Shadowwind's. So the black on here is kind of a black and white one, which looks really cool, and his attachment are these little vines. He came in the Skunk Attack Speedor set, and his minifigure is exclusive to that set too, just like his Speedor is. And he has some very nice printing on his Speedor alone, and his attachment, like I said, are those little vines, which don't really add much, but they don't get in the way, so I like them. And that's really it for Skinnet. Definitely one of my more favorite ones, so the last 3 were kind of the ones I like the most. Next up is Legravis's, and Legravis has kind of this pearl gold Speedor helm color. I'm not really sure what I should call these. I think I'm going to start calling these just helms. Like, that's what they're going to be called. Not even helmets, not even crowns, just helms, because that sounds cool and it kind of fits. So his Speedor helm has some nice printing on here. You can see it has kind of a similar printing to what you see on Laval's, which we'll get to later. But for now, just a really kind of quick look. All the lion ones kind of have this weird printing with these little symbols right here. And kind of a printing that looks like a lion head. And you can see it's prevalent on both of them, father and son. for LeGravis's, his attachment are these little spikes on the back. The minifigure himself is really cool, and you can see his Speedor is not that bad. The pearl gold color, I don't know if it matches completely with the blue, but still, it's not that bad of a Speedor, like I said, which is really cool. So that's it for LeGravis. And next up, we'll move it a little bit like this. We got Gorzan, and this is the first issue of Gorzan. As you guys saw earlier, there's actually 2 issues of Gorzan, and this one came in the Whirling Vines set. He has some nice printing with the blue right there, but the gun silver look, or the, not really gun silver, but the flat silver look, I don't know, I'm not really impressed by it. I just think it looks a little bit cheap. I'm not entirely sure. Maybe because mine has a lot of stress marks for some reason. That's really what you see when they have like pearl gold or flat silver, so I can't really blame them. But his attachment are these 2 little bananas back here, and they're on these kind of teal little handle pieces. So that's cool. Nice minifigure, but a very cool Speedor too. Besides that flat silver look, I do like the printing. I think the printing really stands out on this Speedor. And next up is Eris. And Eris' Speedor in particular is actually disappointing because it's not exclusive to Eris. It's also found in Equilla's Speedor, so you can see it's the exact same Speedor. It's just that Eris's has a different attachment, and of course Eris is different from Equilla. Now this Eris came in the Sky Dual set, which is also where I think it's Rosm came in, and Rosm is up next, but Rosm also has the same Speedor as an older one. So that's really disappointing. I mean, they were released kind of 6 months apart, I guess you could say, because this was kind of released in June, and then the old ones were released, well, I guess 5 months apart. So it was just kind of a short time. It was like basically 1 season apart, because there was 1 season in the middle of summer and then in the middle of winter. So it's just that I don't know why they reprinted. They could have done maybe just a little bit of different printing, but nope, they just kind of did the same exact printing. And that just really disappoints me, because I like getting some variation on the Speedors. But it's good that we got Eris with a different Speedor later on, so not all the Eagle Speedors are the same. There's actually one other one that's different, and it's actually one of my favorites too. That's just kind of a different printing altogether. But like I said, they look very similar, but this one also has some different printing than the one from the Sky Launch set from 2014, which I looked at earlier. You can see this one kind of has these little markings right here, but this one has more of a similar look to the top right here, and then this one has these black lines right here. This one kind of has one similar look like that. So they are different printing between the 2 Eris versions, but like I said, this Eris has the same exact printing as Equilla, which is just so disappointing. But her attachment are these little, I guess you could say, lightsaber hilts right there. And the helm mold is just that eagle mold that we've been getting. So that's really it. And she has a very nice wings right here for the minifigure alone, but the minifigure herself, I don't really have any Erises besides the 2 that I got in the Speedor sets. So it's interesting because she is the main character, and it's the same with Laval. Laval only comes in 1 Speedor set until summer 2014, which is interesting because he is the main character. And right here is Rosm, and Rosm has the same Speedor printing as Razor, which is kind of what I was complaining about with Eris and Equilla. And that really disappoints me too, but they are very different minifigures, so I guess that's okay. And he has this little rocket attachment, which we do see with a few of these Speedor's attachments. And I'll just move Razor out of the way, because yeah, this one's Razor because it was Ring of Fire. And Rosm, his Speedor mold is the same as, I believe, yeah, it's the same as the Eagles, which is good. Or is it? Let me see. Why do they look different right now? Yeah, they're the same as the Eagles. And his printing is really cool. So I guess, I don't know, I think I like the printing on this one better than the Eagle printing between Equilla and Eris. Maybe it's just a burgundy color, but I'm actually more glad to get a copy of this one than a copy of Equilla and Eris's from that little summer 2013 debacle, which is the same thing that's going on here, because like I said, you do get the same one that's found in the Ring of Fire in the Sky Dual set. But I digress. It's still a very nice looking Speedor. It's just that maybe they should have changed up the printing on either one of the last 2. So that was it for the summer ones. So now we'll take a look at the first wave and the second wave, which was the spring ones. And we'll start with the spring ones, which we'll start with, this one is not Windsor. It is, why does he, I keep on forgetting his name. But for his Speedor, it is actually the same one that's found on Windsor. And you can see they have the same printing like that, which is really disappointing, but Windsor did come in a special edition set, so I guess that's how they kind of got away with it. They didn't want to reprint another Speedor in the special edition set. But for him alone, he actually comes with these little saw blades on the back. And that's really it for the actual Speedor itself, besides the printing. And the printing isn't really too special to me. I think that the printing, I don't know, it's hard to explain because the printing for the Wolf ones aren't too interesting in my opinion. I don't know why. And we've only gotten 3 Wolf Speedors, and none of them were from past spring 2013. It was actually an interesting perspective, but I don't know, I just don't really like the look of the Wolves, but this is definitely my least favorite of the Wolf Speedors out of the 2 that there are, because like I said, this is the same one that's used on Windsor. Because the other one, which is Wox's, has a very nice red color, and I don't really think that the flat silver color really matches well with it. But let me see, I'm checking right here. Oh, this is Windsor, and that's Juarez. Duh, I totally messed up, so all the Chima people are going to be screaming at me. But yeah, this is Windsor right here. I don't know why I forgot Juarez's name. So yeah, this is Windsor, and that's really it for Windsor Speedor. And this is Lennox's second Speedor. This one has this kind of wheeling attachment on the back. And this one came in the Jungle Gate set, which I think is a pretty lame set. But the Speedor itself isn't bad, but like I said, you do get 2 of the same Speedor in 2 different sets, which are both of the sets that come with Lennox. Why Lennox has 2 Speedors in between 2 waves, because it was in the spring and this winter wave, I don't know. And it's really kind of lame because Lennox is in so many sets, but he's barely like a featured character in the TV show itself. But his little attachment, I guess, does add variation between the 2, but even that's kind of lame that we got the same one. Even though it is very nice because I do like the yellow color. But the same problem is with Windsor and Juarez, hence why I probably confused them, but they both came in the Eagles Castle set with a certain Speedor, right? Or in this case it was Windsor and Lennox. And then Juarez came in a different set, kind of what is it called? A season later. And he came with the same Speedor as Juarez. So that's kind of lame. And he came in the Ice Tower set. But for Lennox, he came in the Eagles Castle set. And then he came in the Jungle's Gate set a season later. And that was that. So that's kind of lame. But the actual Speedor itself doesn't look too bad. It's not the best looking Speedor, but the yellow color I think adds to it because yellow is an awesome color. And this is actually one of my favorite ones, and it was kind of the hidden gem of the spring line. And this is, what's his name? Eglor. And Eglor's actual Speedor itself is really awesome because of that blue color. Also, he does have some variation from Eris's, which is another fellow, eagle. And so that's cool because Eris's and Equilla, which are the only 2 other eagles, had the same exact printing and the same exact Speedor helm. So it is nice to get Eglor as a different mold in 2013, or not a different mold, but a different printing on the helm. So for his little printing, he kind of has that symbol that some of the lions have, but he has this very nice blue color. I think the blue color really is what makes him stand out. And blue is such an awesome color to have on Speedors, but the only 2 that are really kind of primarily blue with stuff printed over them are Grisam, which was a translucent blue, and then Eglor. So they weren't the same blue tones, but they were both blue Speedors. And both of those are my favorites, or some of my favorites. So Eglor has this nice attachment, which are these little wings right here, so it's a nice way to get the wing pieces, and it's a nice way to keep him standing up. So that's really it for Eglor's Speedor. The minifigure himself is also really cool too. And I think the Nest Dive is definitely one of the better Speedor sets out there. I was really impressed by that, and you guys can check out that review by following the playlist in the description below. Next up is, now we're on to the January 2013 wave, and this one right here is Razor. I can't believe I almost mix him and Rosam up because they're really kind of the 2 Ravens that come on Speedors, which is really disappointing. I don't know why they did that. because Ravens are definitely more interesting, and plus they have the same Speedor printing and everything in mold. So his Speedor right here has some very nice kind of gold coloring in the middle right there. I don't know if you guys can see that, but the silver really looks awesome on the kind of burgundy color of the helm. So I really like that, and his equipment are these two little flames. His Speedor is one of my favorite Speedors, and probably my favorite from the winter wave of 2013. The actual set he comes in is a great set too, which is the Ring of Fire. So that's really it, because I kind of touched on the same Speedor with Rosum. And now on to Juarez, which I totally screwed him up with Windsor. I got them mixed up. But this is Juarez, and the one I looked at earlier was Windsor, okay? So get that straight. Juarez has this kind of rocket attachment right here, but I actually lost the second one, and I still can't find it, which kind of makes me a little bit sad. But you can see I think I replaced it with that right there. So hence why I kind of had to replace it with something so it would stay together. But the actual Speedor itself is the same that is found on Windsor's. So there's nothing really different there, and I don't really like that look of the Wolf Speedors. But the next one coming up, the next Wolf, is actually a really cool looking Speedor. And this is Krager. Krager has a decent Speedor, not the best, but not the worst. Definitely what you would see, or what you would expect from a Croc Speedor from Chima, because they have that olive green color that they use for a lot of the Croc vehicles in Chima, which isn't a bad thing at all. And his little equipment are these little axes right here, which is something that kind of changes it up, and it helps them stand, so I don't have a problem with it. The Krager minifigure himself is pretty cool, but we're not really looking at the minifigures, but rather the Speedors themselves. And this one has some nice scar like marks right here, kind of looks like a paint mark or something. That's intentional to make it look very rugged, and some nice teeth printing on the front too. So definitely one of my favorite Speedors for the crocodiles, even though there's not a lot of Speedors. And actually I think all three of the crocodile Speedors are really cool, which is good, because that means the whole tribe has good Speedors. This is probably the weakest, though, of all of them. I know I just said it was my favorite, but I just thought there's only 3 crocodile Speedors. So now on to Laval Speedor, and it's so weird that Laval only comes in 1 Speedor set. I mean, you would expect him to come in more sets, but he does come in an actual Speedor set that's a summer 2014 Speedor set, which is a completely different Speedor mold altogether. You can see his printing right here has kind of what you would expect from a line printing, which is what I was kind of trying to say earlier with Grievous and all of them, where they have the face, and then they have kind of this symbol back here with these kind of, it looks a little bit like a mane coloring, but it's a different printing from any of the other line Speedors, so that's good. And he kind of has this burgundy printing on the back right here, which kind of makes him different, which is, or burgundy coloring, not printing, because like I said, the printing is similar to others, but the printing on here is also kind of these scales, which makes him different too. It's like a scaly look, which looks cool. So his is one of the more detailed ones, and it does look really cool. The Laval minifigure himself is really detailed too, but he doesn't come in a lot of sets, oddly enough. At least in 2013. 2014, we got him in a cheap Legends Beast set, and him and Krager actually only came in a $30 Speedor set, which is crazy, which was the CHI, or the Ultimate Speedor Tournament set. I don't know why they made it a $30 Speedor set. They could have easily included him in some of the blister packs, and it would have sold like hotcakes. A little unrelated story, or not completely unrelated, but I was at Toys R Us one day, and we were having a Chima event or whatever, and one of the kids was like, "Oh, I wish they had a set that had Laval in a cheap set." That was really it, because he didn't want, his mother wouldn't let him get a $30 cheap Speedor battle set, which was the set that Laval and Krager came in. I don't know why they don't have him in a $15 set, like I was saying, or in this case, in the 2013, it would be a $13 set. And plus, in the Summer Wave, he only comes in the Speedor sets wise, he only comes in a $20 set, I believe. Which again, they're really kind of missing out on an opportunity there. But plus, he's kind of easy to get in a Legends Beast set earlier this year. So, you know, I guess it is easy to get him, at least not in the Speedor set. But this is Walks right here, and he's probably my favorite of the Wolves and the Wolf Speedor. I used to be Juarez. I used to be a heavy Juarez guy, but I don't know, the look of Walks' fur, like the kind of coloring, makes him look much different, and I think it makes him stand out. Maybe I'm just a little bit tired of Juarez. If he had a cool cape, like a red cape, which was like similar to Juarez's cape, that would be cool. They should have probably put that on him. But his Speedor himself, or the Speedor itself, is kind of this red coloring on the Wolf Speedor, which they do use for like Skinette and Ferdy and all of them. So it's not just limited to wolves, but it looks really nice. I do like that, and it has some silver finish right there, that metallic silver finish, which looks great. I'm not really sure of his attachment, or yeah, his attachment I actually had to take off because it doesn't help him stand. It's really just a saw blade right here, which is nothing special. But he does have a really awesome looking Speedor for the red look alone, but the silver finish really adds to it, and his minifigure does look really cool, like I said. So that's it for Walks' Speedor, and he came in the Chi Battle set along with who was it? Yeah, Longtooth, which we'll get to next after King Crominus. And King Crominus has this really other cool looking Speedor, probably my favorite of the Crocodile Speedors. I know I really liked Krug's a lot, and I said that Krager's was pretty cool too. Well, this one has this lime green color, so I kind of use this as Twitch's, even though Twitch is just a regular green. And this used to be Twitch's Speedor in like January of last year. I used them for like a Eurobricks avatar. But the Speedor itself has some nice gold metallic finish on it, and it's very detailed. It has the little crocodile teeth at the front and the eye, and then these little details on the ridges. So it does look really cool, and his attachment are these little spikes right here, which are kind of on a hinge, so you can move those up and down. One of the rare occasions that a hinge is on a Speedor set for their attachment. The minifigure himself is really cool too, but again, like I said, I'm trying not to focus on the minifigures. And the actual Speedor itself is definitely one of my favorites. And he came in Boulder Bowling, which was a really cool set because it came with a lot of those boulder pieces. Other than that, it wasn't really that interesting of a build. But this one right here is a Longtooth, and my Longtooth minifigure is misprinted. I never got a replacement for him. But the actual Speedor itself has some really nice gold printing on it, on this kind of yellow color that's found on the same, or on Laval's Speedor. And the gold color does look really nice because it is a metallic finish, which looks great. And he has these little spikes on the back too, but different positioning than what you see on King Crominus is Speedor. And here's the side right here. He came in the Chi Battle set with Walks, which was a $20 Speedor starter set from January 2013. So that's it for him. Pretty nice looking Speedor. And next up is Leonidas' Speedor, and he comes with a pretty cool orange Speedor, which is the only orange Speedor out there. And his attachments are these little rockets back here. But the printing on it is actually really cool. I like this shiny gold metallic finish. And it kind of has what looks to be, it's kind of like a dark blue coloring, which is great. He has a typical lion mold on him for the actual helm itself. But it does look really cool, and he came in the CHI Waterfall set, which was my first Speedor set. Next up is Aquila. And Aquila's Speedor, I don't really like. Not only did we get it with Eris, even though it was after in summer 2013, his attachment is really just annoying. I'm going to definitely take that off because it takes too much space. I don't know. It really is added to go along with the set, which is what is it called? It's a target practice, because they use a ramp to make him fly over or whatever to just kind of add detail. But it just kind of goes in the way, and I think it would actually hinder your ability to win the Speedor game or whatever. But the actual Speedor itself, like I said, has the same printing as Eris, so it's not exclusive at all, but it did come before Eris. The set it's in is Target Practice, which I think is an excellent set, and the Aquila minifigure himself is really cool, but just the actual Speedor itself isn't really that impressive in my opinion. And last up, or I think it's last up, is Lennox's other Speedor, and this one came in Eagle's Castle from 2013, and this was actually a Toys R Us exclusive set. His is the same printing and coloring in the same exact Speedor as the Lennox that comes in the Jungle Lead set. But this one has a different attachment on the back, which is kind of those Ninjago booster pack pieces. But the Speedor itself has some nice printing. Like I said, I do like the yellow color and everything. It's just kind of repetitive to get the same character and same Speedor in a set that comes out less than a season after, because it was literally the next season. So I guess you can't really say the season after because, or yeah, you could say the season after. But like I said, the printing and everything is nice. It's just annoying to get the same Speedor. And that was the Eagle's Castle set, which was $40 Toys R Us exclusive. So you can see I kind of ruined all my Speedors in positioning. Now they're just kind of this clump, so I'll have to organize that. But if we move to the back, I want to kind of take a look at all the accessories and stuff like that. So let me kind of move them out of the way. Unfortunately, I don't have the builds or everything set up, but I do have some of the rip cords and everything set up, like the cards and the chi crystals. But you can see all the ripcords right there, plus some special edition ones that didn't come in the sets, but rather promotional sets. Ooh, and a food fell. But there's only one purple Speedor ripcord, which is interesting. There's a few greens. Green's probably the second to last rare color besides, or no, I would say there's probably less blue than green. But most of them are yellow, which is kind of sad if you ask me. But other than that, those are really the colors of Speedorz. There's only that one purple one that kind of strays away from the other Speedorz. That's kind of like an exclusive one to that Bat Strike set. But those are all the Speedorz right there. And then these are from a Speedorz accessory pack set. They kind of have these little grips right here. And there's two of them from two different Speedorz accessory pack set. And one of them was a promo, and then one of them was that really crappy Speedorz build set, which I made that rant about. And we have 162 total Chi crystals, 6 for each of the 27 Speedorz. And you can see how much of these it kind of forms. It forms like 4 of these large sticks, and now they're all breaking up. I'm probably going to make like a mock one day that is just like the Chi crystal mines and put all these into use. But they just kind of take up space now, but they look really cool. Like, I do love the Chi crystal piece in general. I think it's a really cool looking piece. That's sad that we don't get it in a lot of other translucent colors. Also, here's a big stack of Speedorz cards, and you can see how huge of a stack it is from all the Speedorz sets. But there's only 2 that aren't from sets, but rather a promotional item, which are the 2 holographic cards, and they're somewhere in here. But you can see that's huge right there. Then on the bottom, I don't have all the Speedorz. I actually have like half of them, but you can see all the Speedor, or not really half, but half of the Speedor builds. I know you can't really get a good look there, but it's really just a huge mess of builds because these take up a lot of space. But yeah, that's really it for the Speedorz collection video. It got really sloppy at the end, but that's because there's just so much to look at. I mean, it's hard to do this in an orderly fashion because there's just a lot of Speedorz at this point. Like I said, there's 27 Speedorz, and that just leads to a lot of just Speedorz and Chi crystals, and then these ripcords right here. So I'm going to have to organize this out, maybe put them on display a different way or something. I don't know. We'll decide because, like I said, I'm really excited for the summer wave because they look really, really weird, and I think that's going to make them really fun to review. So that's it, and one last look of all the Speedorz, just the mess of Speedorz right there. And that is it for this video. Sorry if I dwelled on too long. This is 40 minutes, but I'll see you guys later. Bye.